My mom told me I need to know how tampons work in case I ever get a girlfriend. So I'm gonna put this in water and see what it does. Okay, so I think I push this part down like a push pop. There we go. And now I put it in the water. Here we go. What the? This is what happens in a girl's hoo-ha? You can always tell when someone is rich because they do not act like normal people. Like there was one rich person I grew up with, and one time we were talking to each other on a Friday, and I was like, do you have any plans for the weekend? And he was like, oh, well, I've really been craving my favorite restaurant lately, so we're probably gonna go there tomorrow. So I said, that's cool. What's the name of the restaurant? And he says, La Sponda. So I was like, I've never heard of that place before. Where's that at? And you know what he says? With a straight face, he looks me in the eyes and says, Italy. We are in the United States having this conversation, by the way. And we also have school on Monday. So I'm like kind of laughing, waiting for him to crack a smile and say that it was a joke. But no, he was serious. This same person has asked me what temperature I like the sauna to be at. And I was like, I don't know, whatever temperature the gym has it as. Because that's the only place I have access to a sauna. And he was confused because he has a sauna in his house. But honestly, I don't think we're too far off from each other. I mean, he might be going to Italy for dinner, but when I go to McDonald's, I don't even have to order off the dollar menu anymore. I accidentally dropped these candles while I was shopping, but then a little kid picked them up for me and said, can I tell you a secret? So I said, sure. And then he said, you have to guess. So I said, is today your birthday? But then he goes, no, the secret is that my sister's in the hospital. Why would you make me guess that? What would you do if a little kid's mom tried to pepper spray you? Because that's what happened to me today. I was minding my own business, and then a little kid comes up to me and says, your shirt is ugly. And then he does a cartwheel as he walks away. And I could have just let the situation end there, but I have a very fragile ego. So I decided to say, hey, buddy, your cartwheel is ugly. And this made the kid start to cry. And he ran to his mom and pointed at me. And then the mom started to walk over to me, and I was like, oh, I know I'm in trouble now. So I pretended to be on a phone call. You know, like when you're too scared to talk to a girl, so you pretend to be on the phone. But the mom did not care. So she went right up to me and she started screaming at me. So I tried to de-escalate the situation, and I said, lady, I'm sorry for what I said to your kid, but he's also a snitch. And then she tried to pepper spray me. And I don't blame her for trying to pepper spray me. It was honestly kind of a boss move. I should probably just stop arguing with little kids. Since old people in nursing homes like to listen to music from their generation like this, does that mean that when our generation is in nursing homes, we're gonna be like this?
From the screen to the ring, to the pen, to the king. Where's my crown? That's my bling. Always saw more in a ring.
What would you do if you accidentally made everyone in your school throw up? Because that's what I did. So I was at school one day, and the guy sitting right next to me farted, but he blamed it on me. So everyone laughed at me, and I decided right there that I was gonna get revenge on this kid. And luckily, he was throwing a party at his house that night. So I was trying to think of ways that I could get payback on him. And then it hit me. I'm gonna spray fart spray all around his house, so people think that his house smells like farts. So I got to the party, and everyone was having a great time, and I snuck around the house and sprayed fart spray everywhere. And if you know anything about fart spray, it smells awful. But I thought what happened after I did this is that everyone would think this kid's house smells like farts, and they would start laughing at him like they did to me. But I think I sprayed so much of the fart spray that it literally made people throw up. Like everywhere. One person even threw up on the guy's dog. I didn't want that to happen. Honestly though, I only did this because I was insecure. So be proud of your farts. I just ordered food from McDonald's, but as I was about to pay, the employee said, normally your meal is $6, but today we have a special discount for people that are really good looking. So I was like, oh my gosh, awesome. So how much is my meal? You know what she said? $6. $6. I just Googled the name of a kid who used to bully me when I was 12 years old. First thing that pops up, a GoFundMe. His house burned down! I obviously feel so bad for him and his family.
Somebody call 911. Shawty fire burning on the day.
I dropped my phone on the ground and it cracked the camera. So for some reason now, every time I record, if something goes across the screen too quickly, then it like glitches out. Here, I'll show you. What? It didn't work that time, so now I just look like an idiot. I'm gonna do it again. I'll prove it to you that it happens, I swear. Why is it not doing it now? One more time, it's gonna happen. Come on, man. My phone is gaslighting me! I just met a Gen Z parent for the first time, and the next generation is doomed. So I was at the DMV, and I sat next to this girl who was getting a new license because hers expired. And she showed me her old one, and I saw that her birthday was the exact same as mine. And as I'm talking to her, I see a little kid run by, and she goes, Noah, stop running. And I said, how do you know that kid? And she was like, oh, that's my son. First of all, why aren't you watching him? But second of all, we're the same age and you already have a kid? I'm out here still playing with Legos and you have a kid? But anyways, we started talking about her kid and she told me that when she found out she was pregnant, she was terrified because she was like, what if I don't even like the baby? I mean, that's kind of a crazy thing to say, but I guess it's fair. And then she told me how her son starts school next week and that she's really scared for that to happen too, because what if he asked her for help on his homework? And I was like, what do you mean? If he needs help, just help him. And she said, well, if he goes up to me and says, Mama, how do I solve this math problem? What do I say? I'm not good at math either. And the more she spoke, the more I was like, damn, you're kind of right. I can't do math either. Now I'm scared to have a kid. Thanks a lot, Noah. This random lady just screamed out loud asking if anyone wanted ice cream. So of course, I went over to get some along with a couple other kids. But when I got to her, she said, you're too old to be one of my kids' friends. And that's when I realized she was asking her son and his buddies if they wanted ice cream. Not just anyone at the park. She still gave me some though. I just made a little kid cry at Crumble Cookie because I was waiting in line, but right when it was my turn to order, one of the workers says, attention everybody, we only have 2 of the pumpkin roll cookies left. And after he said that, a little kid behind me who would have been next up to order goes, Mom, there's 2 pumpkin cookies left. We made it just in time to get one. But little did this kid know, I wasn't just getting cookies for me. I was getting it for my roommates too. And they all wanted the pumpkin one. So the employee asks what I want, and I say, I'll take 2 of your pumpkin roll cookies, please. But right when I say this, the kid starts screaming. No words, just screaming. So the mom picks him up and walks outside the door as fast as possible. So he didn't even get any cookies. But the most sad part was, I heard how excited the kid was for the pumpkin roll cookie. So after I ordered, I was gonna tell him he could have mine, thinking that would make his day. But I didn't even get a chance to because his mom took him out of the store before I could do it. And I totally understand why he crashed out like that over a cookie because these are really good. To anyone that's ever wondered why girls all go to the bathroom together, I think I figured it out. Because the other day, I was at a restaurant, but I had to go number 2 really bad. So I quickly ran into the bathroom and went into a stall, but when I was on the toilet, I heard a group of people walk in, and I didn't think anything of it at first until I heard them speak. Because they sounded a lot like girls, so I looked under the stall, and that's when I realized I ran into the women's restroom instead of the men's. So I just stayed as quiet as possible, hoping that no one would notice me. But while I was in there, I heard this sound go off like 100 times. This is your warning to never eat in front of a vegan. Because I knew this girl who was super vegan. Like anytime she ever saw me eating meat, she would be like, you shouldn't eat that. But then the other day, I see her eating mozzarella sticks. So I give her a confused look and she's like, why are you looking at me? And I say, do you know what you're eating? And she goes, yeah, mozzarella sticks. So I go, okay, but aren't you not allowed to eat that? And she says, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you're eating cheese. And she goes, what? This doesn't have cheese in it. And I say, yes, it does. It's literally in the name, mozzarella stick. And she goes, wait, are you serious? I didn't know mozzarella was cheese. I just thought it was the name of the person who created it. So she started freaking out and she threw away the rest of her mozzarella sticks, which kind of made me sad because they looked really good. But I'm just glad because now if she ever tries to get mad at me again for eating meat, I'm just gonna respond by saying, girl, I know the mozzarella enthusiast ain't talking. This is your warning to never go to a Gen Z dentist because I just did and it did not end well. So my dentist was a girl and she was around my age and she was gorgeous. So when she saw me, she said, hi, are you Tyler? And I'm like, ooh, she knows my name. But then she goes, I'm gonna be your dental hygienist today. My name's Isabella. And at this point, I'm in love with Isabella. I've already planned our future together. But then I was like, wait, you're my dentist? That's so embarrassing. I don't want you seeing my teeth like that. But I have no choice. So she tells me that I can sit down in the chair and I do. And then she says, all right, now open up. And I'm like, okay, fine. I love you. And she goes, no, not that kind of open up. I mean, open your mouth. No, I'm kidding. That part did not happen. But what did happen is she worked on my teeth and she did a great job. But after she was done, I knew I had no chance with her because this is what she saw for an hour straight. I just know I gave her the ick. Just give me the 80-year-old dentist next time. I just sent my friend a picture of this donut and told him how excited I was to eat it, but he responded back by saying that eating donuts is gross because of how unhealthy they are for you. But what's funny about that is this man can't go 4 seconds without hitting a vape. And he's telling me donuts aren't healthy for you. You rely on flavored air to live. I don't think a donut is your biggest worry. Why do people who can't wake up to alarms have the most obnoxious ones? Because I almost hit my brother with a frying pan last night because he went to bed 2 hours before me and this guy cannot wake up to an alarm no matter what. But he had 20 alarms set for 6 a.m. So when 6 a.m. came around, guess who woke up? Not him. He just sleeps through it the whole time. And you know what the worst part is? This is his ringtone. Why would you choose that one? Every time it goes off, I think we're getting a tsunami warning in the middle of the night. And somehow, he sleeps right through it every time. I'm gonna throw his phone out the window next time. Matter of fact, I could throw him out the window. He still wouldn't wake up. Nobody talks about how scary it is when you get called to the principal's office and your whole friend group is there. Because one time, I was in class and the school phone starts ringing, so my teacher picks it up and is like, okay, I'll tell him. Tyler, you need to go to the principal's office right now. So I'm thinking my mom pulled me out of school to go on a vacation or something, and I'm not worried at all until I arrive to the office. And inside, I see 4 of my friends, but not only were they my friends, they were all people I'm in a group chat with. And they're looking at me all worried, so I'm like, oh no. I know what happened. Our group chat text finally got leaked. It's over, we're cooked. Or at least that's what I thought, because once I arrived, the principal told us she was glad we were all there because she needed to talk to us as a group. But what she told us was that she saw us jaywalking one day after school and that we need to stop doing that. When she said that, we all took a big exhale looking at each other. As long as she didn't find out about the group chat, I don't care what we're getting in trouble for. Nobody talks about how scary it is when you're at your friend's house and they tell their mom you're hungry. Like, great, now your mom hates me. Because when I was younger, I would hang out at my friend's house after school a lot, but he had an appetite smaller than a celebrity on Ozempic. So I didn't want to ask him for food at his own house. I wanted him to offer it, but he was never hungry. So what I did is give him subtle hints that I was hungry, hoping that this would make him offer me food. Like, we would see a Taco Bell commercial on the TV and I would be like, dang, Taco Bell sounds really good right now, doesn't it? But he would just be like, nah, not really. But one time when I did this, instead of responding to me, he was just like, hey, yo, mom, Tyler's hungry. Can you make him something? Why would you say it like that? Now your mama just thinks I'm a big back who wants to empty all her cabinets. Gen Z people should not be doctors because I went to a Gen Z doctor and it was awful. I dislocated my knee and I couldn't walk, so I went to the hospital. And normally at this hospital, there's a bunch of old angry men that are doctors there and they kind of seem like they hate me, but that's what I like because I trust them. But this time I go inside, they put me into a room and this guy walks in that could be no older than like 25 years old and he goes, "Sup, dog?" And at this point, I'm just thinking, okay, it must be bring your kid to work day or something. So I'm just like, what's up? But then he says, so I'm gonna be the one putting your knee back in place today. My heart sinks because just by looking at this guy, I could tell that he used Quizlet to get through medical school. And my life is in his hands. But then it gets worse because he asks me how I injured my knee. And I say, oh, I did it playing basketball. And he says, yeah, man, basketball can low-key be dangerous. Low-key? Dog, my doctor did not just say low-key. At this point, I just accepted that I'm probably never gonna walk again because this guy's my doctor, but I'm like, all right, whatever, let's just put my knee back in place. So he asks if I'm ready for him to do it, and I say yes, and he says, okay, on 1, ready? 3, 2, and then he does it on 2.